Pal update says Islamic Development Bank to fund 145 kilometers of road project in Cameroon. Far North, military on high alert against Boko Haram suicide bombers. And Urban Development Minister announces CFA France 4.5 billion mobilized to tackle Yaoundé pothole. You can get read details on that set paper for today. Championing digital revolution in Africa, Nigeria's ex-president Olusegun Obasanjo says ICT University is setting standards. That is what you can read on that set paper for today. Le Messager of late Pius Njawe for this morning report on Maso Act 4. The paper talks of the Treasury Assistance of Solidarity. That is what you can find on that set paper for today. And we move on to Fundi Division. It says opposition in the face of the adversary. Get to read more on the prefectorial order from the senior divisional officer for Fundi on the page of 3 on Le Messager for this day. From Le Messager, we move forward with the next publication for today. That is L'Actualité. L'Actualité report on insurrection will not be welcome in Fundi Division, according to the senior divisional officer who put on hold troublemakers and persons who wants to stir insurrection in the Fundi Division and the capital, political capital at large, Yaoundé. Away from that, we move forward with Info Show. The Info Show for today report on Honorable Cabral Libri, president of PCRO, and the paper reports on the communique, his take on the communique from the senior divisional officer for Fundi Division. He says he says he is not in complacent with the Constitution of the Republic. And Ekodu Parliament for this morning talks of the APF, that's the African Parliamentary Group of La Francophonie. It says the triumphant entry of Hilario Etong, who was elected as president of the APF. From that paper, we move on to Cameroon Tribune. Cameroon Tribune for this morning report on local development when the people make their voice. That is what you can find on Cameroon Tribune of Marie-Claire Nana. And media debate, journalists guests called to order by the senior divisional officer for Fundi. You can find more on that set paper for today. The paper reports on upcoming football championship, exploring efficiency mechanism. And we move on to natural gas liquidity. It says Cameroon in the heart of the big nations when it comes to natural gas in the world. And Info Matin for this morning talks of beer. It says prices of beer will not be increased. That is the assurance you are getting from the Minister of Trade, Luke Marga Baranga Tanganang, on Info Matin for today. And we move forward with Louis Eco. Louis Eco for Mbafusam reports on the incident in Banjul. It says a high school student reported death at the residence of Honorable Albert Ngwashinge, who happens to be the CEO and founder of the fishery company known for short as Conchecam. Away from West Echo, we move on to Kame Press. Kame Press for this day reports on the Minister of Water and Energy, Gaston Elundu Somba, who visits the line. Get to read more on that paper for today. Mineral sector, the interim Minister of Mine and Technology, Fukalitus Gentry, comes out with the truth regarding the 24 permits that was granted to some certain companies in charge of extractive industry in the nation. L'Action of CPDM for today. L'Action is reporting on the mass mobilization of potential voters to get registered on the electoral list. That is what you can find on that said paper for today. And the death of Dr. Yaro Bakari, it talks of the visit of comfort of the members of the Central Committee to his residence to pay their tribute to the family. Get to read more on that said paper for today. Kumbalom Road Rehabilitation, the paper is reporting on users hail government. It's now, you can find more on that paper on page 14. We move on to the sports paper, like two sport for this morning. It talks of Euro 2024. It says, what a beautiful football season for the Spaniard. That is what you can find on that said paper for today, as the paper celebrates two of Spanish finest players who are from African origin. Get to read more on that said paper for today. We move on to the rehabilitation of the Semak Central Zone. You can find more on that said paper for today. Away from that, we will be taking you now to the next publication, Quotidian Economy. For this morning, Quotidian Economy is reporting on the banking sector. It says Africa Golden Bank makes it to the top list. You can find more on that said publication for today. Agriculture, the paper is reporting on the need to mechanize Cameroonian agricultural sector. You want to find more on page 9 on that paper for today. Mutation of Charit Jaga reports on the transportation of electricity supply. It's electricity supply, the equation of the Nakshiga Dam. Get to read more on Mutation for today. Emana, 14 families cry out for distress. Get to read details on that said paper. And freedom of expression, the paper reports on the when the SDO of Fundi begin to play the match that does not concern him. You get to read more on that paper for today. Quotidian emergence for this morning talks of internal debts. It says more than 3,600 billions are being owed. Get to read more on internal debt in Cameroon by the Cameroonian government. Far North region, the paper is reporting on the Boko Haram insurgency that keep on raining havoc over there in the Far North region. And Yaoundé Sukavin, that is the company in charge of wine production in the country, where a part of it went on flames some days ago over there at Mfund, over there in the neighborhood of Sam in Yaoundé. Get to read more on that said paper for today. The Guardian Post of Christian Guy report on the story. It says alarming 3,413 road accident kills 256 injured 254 in 6 months. That is a special report by the paper of Christian Gar on the Guardian Post for this morning. Douala International Airport, Social Affairs Minister launches campaign to combat human trafficking, migrant smuggling. Get to read more on that paper for today. To enhance professionalism, secure varsity revenue, UBA Bank Cameroon, University of Marwa Science Partnership. You want to find more on that paper for today. And Africa Info reports on the this one that talks of the new team by President Paul Biya for the Continent 237 will be composed after the 2025 presidential elections. That's what the paper is reporting for this morning on the cabinet reshuffle in Cameroon that the paper is projecting to take place after the presidential elections come 2025. And Le Quotidien for this morning talks of Egle takes the lead. Get to read more on that paper for today. Expression Economy for this morning talks of the collusion between Kobac and banks in the country and the Semak sub-region. We move forward with this one from the Ministry of Secondary Education headed by Nalova Lyonga. The paper says the error of Nalova Lyonga to suspend the payment of PTA fees across government secondary schools. That is what the paper is telling us for this morning on the bottom page story for today. And L'Expression for this day talks of the National Centers of Youth and Sports. It says the avenue for more laureates to emerge to head the various sporting competitions in Cameroon and beyond. Quotidian Eco Sante for this morning talks of the program against HIV and AIDS and tuberculosis and malaria in Cameroon. The paper reports on the new disposition that was taken yesterday in the city of Yaoundé. And we move forward with this International Medical Reference Center of Chantal Biya. It talks of the first activities of scientific research for 2024 on the scan. Get to read more on that publication of Quotidian Eco Sante for this morning. Le Témoin for today reports on addiction to drugs in crisis hit area. It says the Minister of Public Health Manaona Malachi rings the alarm bell. Diapazon for today reports on governance in the Beyak sub-region. It says for truth of Sani Mbangi, who happens to be the governor of the Central Bank of Beyak. We move on to this other story, freedom in the media. It says the senior divisional officer put disposition to curb on or harassed practicing journalists in the Funzi division of the Center region. Away from that, we take you now to the next publication. That is another health paper. Health news for this morning talks of the health facility. Sees the hospital that has been faced by unpaid bills from vulnerable patients. Get to read more on that paper for today. Reproductive health. The paper talks of Sisters Hospital Simbok offering consultation at reduced cost when it comes to reproductive health. In that health news, the paper talks of talks of drug use. It says House Minister unveiled 2024-2030 national plan to combat illicit drug consumption by youths and young persons in Cameroon. Sante Natio for this morning talks on the fight against the consumption of hard drugs. Cameroon adopts a new plan by the Minister of Public Health Manaona Malachi. And we move on to this one from Yaoundé. The paper talks of the needs of public toilets across major neighborhoods and junctions in the city of Douala. You want to find details on that story for this morning. We now move on to this other story of Le Reporter. Le Reporter reports on the housing sector. That is the state company in charge of housing, the paper report known as Société Immobilier du Cameroun for short in French, known as SIC. The paper talks of what is happening within the hemicycles of SIC and the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development. Église Évangélique du Cameroun, the construction of a multi-facet complex in Mesa Mokolo. You can find more on that said paper by the Military Engineering Corps of Génie Militaire. Get to read details on that paper for today. L'Equipe newspaper for this morning says, I am a happy child. That is a pronouncement of Kylian Mbappe as he received a hero's welcome over there in Real Madrid Stadium in Madrid, Spain, as he has finally crossed over to Real Madrid. Get to read more on the special interview of Kylian Mbappe on the page of L'Equipe for this day. In that L'Equipe newspaper, it talks of Griol faced with the ban when it comes to rugby for championship. You want to find more on that paper for today. We move on to Nigeria with the Nigerian tabloid. We start off with this day. This day is telling us on, again, military police and NPCL. Others declare war on crude oil theft, and IMF downgrades Nigeria's economy growth projection slightly to 3.1%. We'll take you now to leadership for this morning. Says no plan to sell off public varsities to foreign investors, according to federal government. Emirates crisis, Kano government cripples. Bayero creates second-class Emirates. Get to read more. That said paper. Cholera, yellow fever cases hits 3,626 deaths, while 26 cases, while 104 deaths has been recorded. UAE visa application fees for Nigerians now stands at 688,000. 88,000 naira. Get to read more. That's it. Paper. We move forward with Nigerian Tribune for this morning. It says more states get set for local government polls, and NCDC warns of rising yellow fever cases amidst cholera outbreak, and FAAC, federal government, states local government shares 1.35 trillion naira for the month of June. Nigerian News Direct for this Wednesday morning talks of economic hardship. Tinubu loves Nigeria, do well for country, according to Remi Tinubu. And we move on to this other story. The paper is talking on Gandoje's corruption case depends on Kano government files fresh fraud charges. Cholera outbreak, Nigerian records 103 deaths, some 3,623 cases of cholera cases has been reported all across Nigeria. The Guardian for this morning talks on new electricity tariff. Blackout looms as 11 universities struggle with 2.92 billion bill monthly. We now take you to Kano presses fresh charges against Gandoje as House okays second-class Emmys, and NLC vows 1 month protest if National Assembly passes obnoxious wage law. And we take you to health insurance mandatory for residents, according to Sanwo-Olu, who embarks on 5 billion naira to complete the NYSC camp. That is the governor of Lagos State in southwest Nigeria. The New Telegraph for this morning says Sage to NAS remove local government from constitution. That is what you can read on the front page story of New Telegraph. In Assets New Telegraph, IMF lowers Nigeria's 2024 growth forecast to 3.1%. Cholera, the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, known as NCDC, confirmed 3,623 cases of cholera, while some 103 deaths has been recorded all across Nigeria. Sweet Crude report for this morning report on Nigerian import 1.273 trillion liters of fuel from Belgium, Netherlands, according to the PMS. Imports rise by 46% to 2,064 trillion naira. We move on to Daily Trust for this morning. Daily Trust is reporting on domestic airfares trumped regional tickets. And that's a paper after Supreme Court ruling, state government raised to conduct local government polls. Kano governor signs bill creating 3 second-class Emirates in Kano. Zamfara attack, 5 women escape, 5 men killed by bandits buried. Get to read that sad human interest story on page 20 on Daily Trust for this day. Vanguard newspaper is reporting on federal government's policy crippling businesses, according to NECA, Man and Nasima. We move on to Tinubu orders CDS to end oil theft, and Sunday Ihabo to arm headers leave southwest now. And the Punch newspaper for this Wednesday morning says local government autonomy, 13 states rush to hold cancelled polls. And in that said paper, federal government wants 22 states of 5 days massive floods in that 22 states in Nigeria. One Hill journalist shot in Kenya. Fresh protest that is unfolding all across Kenya. The sports newspaper Punch Sports Extra for this morning talks of Madrid move, dream come true. That is the words of Kylian Mbappe of Cameroonian origin. And in that said paper, not good enough. Get to read more on ex-Eagles assistant Adelami, who claims Nigerian coaches can't handle the Super Eagles. And we move on to this other story on Victor Osimhen. Laurentiis open 100 million euros swap deal for Victor Osimhen. The Nation newspaper for this day talks of CDS raises joint security force in review anti-oil theft battle. You can find more on that paper for today. That is the Nation. Rivers lawmakers crisis rages after state funds. You can read more on that said paper for today. Tribunal orders NLNG to pay FIRS $27.5 million as 2016 revisited tax law. We wrap up the program with the last paper for today. Daily News Hub for this morning talks of loss of revenue. Tinubu gives security forces marching orders to swap on oil thieves. And in that said paper, Edo gubernatorial election smear campaign against Ihado will end in vanity.